Will you pray with me? May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock, our Redeemer. Choose this day whom you will serve. Today is, in case you somehow missed it, Stewardship Commitment Sunday, the day when we bring the first fruits of our lives and lay them before God. When tithing first shows up in the Bible, it is indeed an agricultural practice. The people offer the very first portion of their harvest back to God. I can't help but think that's why, even now in 2022, when we offer not corn but cards, stewardship season always takes place in the fall. The products are different, the principles are the same. We offer the first and best of what we have to the Lord. Choose this day whom you will serve. Joshua and the Israelites have made it to the promised land. God has brought them out of their slavery in Egypt through 40 years of wilderness wandering across the Jordan River and into a land they will come to call home. For the first time in a while, things are looking good for the Hebrew people. They have a land, a name, a future. So Joshua gathers them all before God and says, choose this day whom you will serve. Now they've already been serving God. God has been their God since the time of Abraham. But Joshua wants the people to renew the covenant that God made with Abraham, that God made with Moses at Sinai. Joshua wants his people to claim God's promises for themselves, pledge their own allegiance in this time and place. To stop and examine themselves, recommit. I find it helpful sometimes to do just that. To check in with myself and see if my priorities are lining up. That is one of the gifts of the Sabbath that we've been talking about for 4 weeks. It's time to rest, to remember, to refocus, and once we have done all that, to recommit. After all, there is so much in this world that demands our loyalty and our attention. Work, family, friends, chores, church, civic organizations, emails upon emails, that pipe that is somehow clogged again, the friend you keep meaning to call but have put off for 2 or 3 months now, and oh, by the way, it's dinner time, has anyone made anything? The utility bill is in, and yikes, have you seen the price of propane? There is so much to do. We are limited, finite human beings. We don't like to admit it, but we just can't do it all. Which is perhaps why the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King is quoted as saying that a budget is a moral document. I would add that these days, so are our calendars. Whatever we might tell ourselves, if we look at how we spend our money and our time, we will quickly see what our true priorities are. Choose this day whom you will serve. If you look at my budget, you'll see a lot of food and a lot of music. And admittedly, I love both. When COVID put a halt to live music, to travel, to large gatherings, I learned just how important these things are to me. and how empty my life feels without them. So now I jump at every opportunity to gather with loved ones or strangers for that matter, to see music, especially live music, even if it puts me a little beyond my budget for the month, because I just don't want to miss any of it. If you look at my calendar, you will again see those gatherings, concerts, travel, and you'll also see a whole lot of meetings and appointments for work. My calendar will tell you that I work hard, and that's because I love what I do. But it will also tell you that I'm not very good at saying no. So you'll see meetings and appointments stacked on top, one on top of the other. You'll see conflicts between work life and family life and friends, and does this sound familiar? You'll see that some days I'm not always clear on who or what I serve. Choose this day whom you will serve. What does your calendar tell you about what's important to you? Is there time spent at work, with family, volunteering, enjoying the outdoors, preparing meals, taking vacations? Are there activities that take up lots of your time but really aren't all that important? Are there things that you love, but in this busy pace of life, they get far too little of your precious attention? What does your budget tell you about what you value? Once the bills and non-negotiables are paid, where does any money that you have left go? And is that where you really want it to go? Does that reflect what's really most important to you? Choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Oh, right, that. How on earth does one fit God into our overfilled calendars and overstretched budgets? If, as we do proclaim each Sunday, God is the one to whom we pledge our ultimate allegiance, if faith is the value that guides our living and moving and having our being, where does that show up? In our calendars and in our budgets. Jesus gives an interesting answer to this question. The Pharisees are trying to trap him. The text tells us as much. And so they ask him, should we pay taxes to the emperor or not? If he says, yes, pay those taxes, the people will be angry because he is supporting an oppressive Roman tax system. If he says, no, don't pay taxes, well, the Romans will arrest him for sedition. So instead he says, bring me a coin. Now tell me whose name is on this and whose image. They answer, Caesar's. And Jesus says, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but give to God what belongs to God. Give to God what belongs to God. Well, what belongs to God? Jesus responds to the trick question with a trick answer, actually, because everything belongs to God, doesn't it? The coin bears Caesar's image, sure, but we are created in God's image, which means that every part of our lives, ourselves, our being belongs to God. Our faith is not separate from our lives. It's not this thing that we fit in where we can. It's the guiding principle of everything. Nothing is outside of God's loving care. So if everything we are and give and do comes from God, how on earth are we supposed to give back? Choose this day whom you will serve. Joshua tells the people after he's asked this question that they can't serve the Lord. And then he calls them to serve God anyway. And they do. Imperfectly, but they do. Jesus' answer is, yes, pay your taxes to Caesar, but know that even Caesar belongs to God. And there will come times when you have to choose between the two. Times when you'll have to lay down everything and take up your cross, follow me. My answer, which is admittedly far less profound than Joshua's or Jesus's, has been to set up an auto draft on my bank account. So each month, without me doing anything, money comes and goes into a tithe to the church. That means that however else I spend my money, there is always a portion set aside for ministry that I do believe serves the Lord. I go through my life with that in place, trusting that there will be enough, and at the end of the month, somehow there always is. So today, Commitment Sunday, we are called to recommit our time, our money, our very selves to God. We turn in pledge cards, we offer prayers, we call on and claim the one who in our baptisms has already called and claimed us. And so we end where we began, the Sabbath. God's gift of rest, God's people. God's promise that there is enough, and there will be enough, and therefore we can dare to give what we have to God and to one another. Because we serve a generous God, and we who reflect God's image are generous people. We can give without holding back, without the fear that we will not break even, because we are, in our bones, the spitting image of God. It's like those loaves and fishes, friends. No matter what we start with, in the end, there's always enough. Choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Well, let's do it.